Good morning, students. Today's lesson is lesson 13.5, finding equivalent fraction, page 257 and page 258. The objective of the class is to find an equivalent fraction by multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number. Let's start the class solving some practice problem. We need to write the missing numerators. For example, the number 1 in your page 257. We need to find the numerator. It's equivalent fraction. So equivalent in this case means are equal. But it has the different numbers. Okay, how to find an equivalent fraction you have to do in your notebook, because don't use the book to work on it. Okay, if we have 1/4, we need to find a number to multiply, but this number must be the same both for the numerator and the denominator. Okay, I have 8 in denominator. In this case, we need to find a number where we need to multiply both by the numerator and denominator by the same number. Okay, in this case, we have a number 4. And what number times 4 equals 8? We need to know what number for finding out the missing number. What number times 4 equals 8? In this case, you need to know the table of 4. 4 times 1, 4. 4 times 2, 8. And it's number 2. Okay, that was the number that we need to multiply by numerator and the denominator. 1 times 4 is 2. This is the missing number. We need to write here 2. Let's do the same with the second problem. You always need to find out a number to multiply. Okay, let's do it. 1/3 here. We need to find a number to multiply. And what number times 3 equals 9? Think in a table of 3, a number that gives us 9. And this case is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Remember, you repeat the same number in the numerator. 1 times 3 is 3. Here is your answer. Very good. Let's do the next problem. 1/6. We need to find a number that gives us 24. On this case, look at the table on the 6, and what number times 6 give it equals 24. 6 times 4, 24. You need to repeat the same number in the numerator. 1 times 4 is 4. The missing number is 4. You have to do the same for another problems. And the problem 4, we need to do exactly the same, but if you see it's not a unit fraction because it has a different number in the numerator, let's do it exactly the same. Copy the fraction, find a number to multiply, and write here the answer in the denominator. Okay, let's start. What number times 3 equals 12? Okay, now this case is 4. Okay, remember, you always have to copy the same number in the numerator, and now we need to multiply. The unit different. In this case, you have a not different number than 1. 2 times 4 is 8. Only have to multiply it. Let's do the same for the second fraction. You have 3/4. Let it space for the missing for the number that you need to multiply, and let's find what number times 4 it equals 16. In this case is 4. Remember to copy the same number. 4 times 4, 16. 3 times 4, 12. A missing number on this case is 12. Let's do the same for the third example. For fifth, we need to find a number to multiply. Copy the denominator and let's find what number times 5. What number times 5 equals 3? Is 6. Okay, that's the number we need to multiply. 4 times 6, 24. Okay, we find an equivalent fraction, our missing number, 24. You have to solve it as this way in your book and in the page 258. Let's do another problem. The problem number 7. In the number 7, we need to find an equivalent fraction or the missing number of the problem we have here. Okay, let's start. For the first, you always have to start with the first fraction that you need to use. Okay, all are equivalent to 1/2. 1/2 we need to find and missing number that gives us the number 8. Okay, you have to write here 8. What number times 2 gives you 8? Equals 8 as 4. Okay, the missing number in this case is 4. The next is 1. Okay, what number? The next is 10. The denominator is 10. And we need to find a number. What number times 2 give us 10? This case is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 5 you need to write in numerator and multiply. Okay, let's continue. You always start using the first fraction. Remember, the first fraction is we use the first fraction here to find equivalent fraction. The other are equivalent. Okay, what number here in this case like this? Find the denominator in this case is 12. What number times 2 give us 12? 6 in this case. We need to multiply. 1 times 6, 6. That is the missing number. Let's continue with always start with the first fraction, 1/2. And now it is for 14. What number times 2 give us 14? It's 7. Okay, we need to multiply. 1 times 7 is 7. Let's write it like a missing number, 7. And we need to continue 1/2. And we want to have the 16 as the denominator. What number times 2 give us 16? It's 8. 8 is the missing number and equivalent to all that does before. Okay, the next here times the number, the next is 18. What number times 2 give us 18? It's 9. 1 times 9 is 9. And we continue. If you see all of this follow a pattern, 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 7 8 is the table of 2 because the denominator all are a factor of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. If we continue multiply, for example, 1/2, let's multiply to find for 24, just to see a 24 2 number that multiply 20, that what number times to give us 24 is 12 in this case, 12. And you have to write 12 here. You have 12. If we see the pattern, 10, and here 11, and then it's 12. And this case is following a pattern. because I can see in the denominator are a multiple of 2 and are in the same table that the table of 2. Okay, you have to complete that this way. Use your notebook to solve the problem. Please try to work tight in cleaning your book. Only write your answer and all your calculation. Use your notebook. Let's start at lesson 13.9. Comparing fraction, page 259 and 260. Let's solve the problem number 1 and problem number 2. And we have a unit. The unit is what you saw here, but here we need to write the unit fraction. Remember, the unit fraction is the unit part, the smallest, the simplest fraction in a unit. In this case, my unit fraction is 1, and my unit is divided in 2 parts. Another is, let me write it here. When you want to know this unit fraction, 1, remember, unit start with 1 in the numerator. And how many parts divided the unit? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we need to compare. This problem you have in the book, but we only have to review how to write a unit fraction. Okay, we need to compare 1/2. We need to know it is greater or less. Remember, to know it's greater or less than a number greater, we usually use this for define a greater. In this case, just imagine here, remember, greater and less. The greater number is always, you have to write it here, it's open to the left, the greater number, and the less number, it's open to the right side. It's like you imagine a Pac-Man right here. The Pac-Man, it's going to eat the number where the mouth is opened. And if this less, Pac-Man always eat the bigger number. It's pointing to the bigger number. It's going to be easy for you to understand this using a Pac-Man. If they confuse this, the greater and less symbol here, look at this. Okay, that's the Pac-Man. Use the Pac-Man, and for me help a lot. Okay, there's another side, the Pac-Man. Okay, I only tell you that's help a lot. Using a Pac-Man if they confuse a lot to you. Okay, let's using the Pac-Man. 1/2 and 1/4. We need to know what is greater. In this case, to tell what number is greater, we need to find. Okay, the problem gives us 1/2 like this, and another is in 1/4 to here. Okay, you have to tell me which number it's greater. How do you know it's greater? That because it's closer to the unit. A number what is greater, remember this is 0. Here is 0, starting 0. And the number, the unit, it's between 0 and 1. Okay, what number it's closer to be 1, to become the number 1? The closer number in this case, or the fraction closer to state in the number 1 is 1/2. So the Pac-Man is going to eat, the Pac-Man here is going to eat the 1/2, and the Pac-Man is going to eat the bigger one. Remember, I told you that's really helpful. Let's do the next problem, the problem number 2. 3/5 and 2/3. We need to put in the place. We need to place the 3/5. And okay, let's draw it here. 3. Here is the number 1. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5 here. Okay, that's the place for 3/5 here. And the next is 2/3. Oh, let me write correctly. 2/3, that's the place that we need to write. Let's do it. 2/3 here. Okay, now tell me what number is greater, 3/5 or 2/3. In this case, we use the Pac-Man. Let's remember who is closer to be. It's between here. We are between 0 and 1 because the proper fraction are between 0 and 1. Okay, what number is closer to 1? 2/3, right? So the my Pac-Man going to either 2/3. And that you have to solve using the number line. Try to use it. It's going to be easy if you use the Pac-Man in this case like this, and that's help you a lot. Let's solve this problem comparing fraction. Okay, this is a way to compare fraction. We need to use a cross product. We need to see what number is greater or less than another. For not using the number line, we multiply by this number. 3 times 8, let's multiply. 3 times 8 is going to be to the left, and 4 times 3 to the right. And let's write it. 3 times 8, 24, and 4 times 3, 12. And you decide which is greater, 24 or 12. In this case, 24. And the Pac-Man here is going to be the greater number. Okay, let's do the same for the next number. Then example number 2 is 3/8. 3/8 and 1.5. Okay, if you use crossing product like this, 3 times 2, 6. Let's write it here. 3 times 2, put the circle here, and now 8 times 1, 8, 6. You remember, and the bigger here in this case is, the bigger in this case is 8. Okay, the Pac-Man is going to eat 1.5. Let's do the problem number 3. On this case is 2/3. 2/3. Let's write it correctly here. 2/3 over 3. 5, 6. Let's multiply. 2 times 3 is 12, and then 3 times 5. Here I put an equal, but it's not. They're not equal. Okay, we decide what number is greater. Okay, 2 times 6 is 12, and that is 15. 15 is a greater number, and we write it like this. And the number 4 is 5/6. The other is 4/5. Let's do exactly the same. 5 times 5 is 25, and 6 times 4 is 24. The greater number on this case, 25. The Pac-Man is going to be the greater. Always the Pac-Man going to eat the greater. 5/6 is greater than 4/5.